Within the spirit arc, misty light drifted like flowing clouds. Han Li sat cross-legged against the wall, eyes shut, breath steady as a mountain. Beside him, Liu Leia sat properly, her bright gaze roaming the vessel, occasionally stealing glances at the scenery, retreating like a river of stars beyond the windows. At the prow, Gu Yunhui steered the arc with calm focus, speaking in hushed tones with Yu Menghan. After who knew how long, Han Li slowly exhaled, his eyes opening like drawn blades. A heavy shadow crossed his face. He had already confirmed it. The world's origin Qi no longer answered his call. Cultivation brought him nothing. When he first awakened with shattered memories, shock had dulled his awareness of this loss. Now that he tested it again, the truth struck like cold steel. Silence lingered. With a turn of his palm, a white jade vial appeared. The moment it opened, rich medicinal fragrance surged forth, refreshing the spirit like spring rain after winter. An azure pill rolled into his fingers. So this is the sharp watch pill. Let's see if heaven still leaves me a path, Han Li murmured. He swallowed it and closed his eyes. Knowing better than to disturb him, Liu Leia quietly rose and moved away. Yu Menghan soon joined her in another corner, their soft voices blending with the hum of the arc. Not long after, warmth bloomed within Han Li's dantian, gentle yet persistent, flowing along his meridians like a quiet river. Comfort spread through his limbs. The hollow weakness within him faded slightly, and more importantly, a thin strand of magic power formed once more in his dantian. Tiny, but real. Hope flickered. Opening his eyes, Han Li summoned a dozen more pills, spoils from fallen foes and Taoist Master Whitestone alike. Most were healing or recovery pills, but their quality varied like common iron beside refined steel. He took one, nothing. Another, still nothing. His brows knitted. One by one, he swallowed them, each as silent as dust in the wind. Soon, only a dark golden pill remained, thumb-sized and faintly radiant. Clearly Qi Minghao's final life-saving treasure. Han Li studied it, then calmly tossed it into his mouth. This time, spiritual warmth surged forth, condensing into pure magic power that slipped into his dantian like molten gold returning to a forge. His expression finally eased. So long as pills could still nourish him, recovery was not impossible. The rest had simply been too crude to stir his transformed body. Just then, Mo Guang's voice echoed within his mind. "Congratulations, fellow Taoist Han. The road is not yet cut off." "Even borrowed power is better than none," Han Li replied mentally. With every shred regained, we draw closer to the Immortal Realm once more. "Provided the heavens don't make it harder," Han Li answered calmly. "Have you tried spirit stones?" "I was about to." With a flick of his wrist, several azure spirit stones appeared, glowing as his palms closed around them. Blue light shimmered across the cabin, drawing glances from Liu Leia and Yu Menghan. Gu Yunhui remained unmoved at the helm. Spiritual energy flowed out, but as it hovered above Han Li's hands, it grew turbid, fading like mist in sunlight. The glow vanished. The stones fell dull and lifeless. Han Li stared thoughtful. "So even they fail," Mo Guang said quietly. "Likely too impure," Han Li replied. "Just like the lesser pills." A pause. "Then high-grade stones and supreme pills should restore you fully." Han Li let out a long breath. "Perhaps, but nothing is certain. Still, my body and spiritual sense remain strong. Even without world qi, I can recover slowly." Mo Guang laughed softly. "If that foundation is merely decent, then the heavens have no true geniuses left. Since a path exists, I wish you fortune." Silence returned. None of the storage bags he'd taken contained top-grade spirit stones. Otherwise, he would have tested them already. The magic power he now possessed was only that of a mid-nascent soul cultivator, a shadow of his former peak. Advancement required either world qi or rare treasures. His brows furrowed. Turning inward, his spiritual sense plunged deep into his dantian. Mist stretched endlessly within, and at its core glowed faint golden light. Like a lone lantern in night fog, there sat a miniature golden figure, identical to him, his nascent soul, eyes closed, face serene, arms hanging loosely, as if slumbering beyond the mortal world. The blockage had to lie here. Before, he had tried probing it, unable to enter, unable to awaken it. Only a faint bond assured him it was still his. Secret techniques flashed through his mind like turning pages. Forming hand seals, the little magic power he possessed condensed into a pale silver rune drifting toward the nascent soul. Thump! Thump! The moment it touched, It shattered into sparks of light. Hanli's gaze darkened, yet he wasn't surprised. Another technique followed. Threads of white radiance converged from all directions, wrapping toward the nascent soul. Hours passed. Suddenly, Hanli's eyes flew open as he sucked in a sharp breath. Forcing down blood rising in his throat, he had attempted the spirit refinement technique, forcing spiritual sense directly into the nascent soul. The response was terrifying. A violent surge erupted from within it, blasting away his power and consciousness, rebounding like a divine hammer. Had his body and spirit not been tempered beyond ordinary limits, the backlash alone could have shattered his mind into ruin. Even so, much of the magic power he'd just regained was consumed, nearly dropping him back to early nascent soul realm. The road ahead was steeper than any blade ridge, and yet he remained standing, which, for a cultivator, meant the fight was far from over. A record of a mortal's journey to immortality, Immortal Realm, Chapter 22, Wind Cloud Duo. As Hanli wade paths through the fog of fate, a faint tremor of spiritual power leaked from his body, the lingering backlash of a forbidden art. Gu Yunyue sensed it at once, her heart giving a sharp leap. "Mid-nascent soul?" she whispered. After a moment's pause, she glided toward him like drifting frost. Hanli rose calmly. "It seems the sharp watch pill served you well," Gu Yunyue said warmly. "Your wounds should be mostly healed." "Thanks to you, fellow Taoist," Hanli replied with a slight bow. "Once you enter our Cold Flame sect, even finer spirit pills will await you." Her tone brimmed with goodwill, clearly eager to draw him closer. As they spoke, Hanli gained a deeper understanding of the spirit domain realm, knowledge far richer than anything Taoist Master Whitestone could offer. When Gu Yunyue probed into his past, Hanli answered like mist over water, present yet impossible to grasp. Sensing his reluctance, she tactfully withdrew. After a pause, Hanli asked, "Fellow Taoist Gu, could you tell me more about the Cold Flame sect? I've heard only rumors." She straightened, pride rising like blazing frost. "Our sect has stood for over 1,000,000 years, with hundreds of thousands of disciples. We boast countless core formation and nascent soul cultivators, dozens of deity transformation and spatial tempering elders, 3 body integration masters, and a grand ascension patriarch." Hanli's heart stirred. "Even more," she continued. "Our founder, Patriarch Cold Flame, ascended to the Immortal Realm long ago, yet still communes with us. From time to time, he bestows immortal pills and supreme cultivation arts." For the first time, Hanli's composure wavered. A sect with immortal backing. Such power was unheard of in the lower realms. Seeing his reaction, Gu Yunyue smiled faintly. "No wonder the Cold Flame sect dominates," Hanli said. "And the Heavenly Ghost sect?" Her expression hardened. "They stand equal to us, and so does the Origin Realm Temple. All 3 possess immortal founders. Together, we reign atop the Spirit Domain realm." Hanli pondered, then asked softly, "But among equals, there must be stronger and weaker." "The Heavenly Ghost sect is slightly superior," Gu Yunyue admitted reluctantly. 3 of their members have ascended across history. Still, the gap is not vast. Hanli's eyes gleamed with thought. A sect that could reach the immortal realm. Perhaps there he could awaken his dormant nascent soul. After further inquiries, he resumed meditation. Azure light flickered across his body, then vanished like swallowed lightning. Gu Yunyue watched in quiet amazement. Soon the heavens brightened. The spirit arc pierced the clouds, revealing towering crimson mountains, jagged and steep, like a forest forged of blood-red stone. "The red coral mountain range," Gu Yunyue murmured with relief. She had taken a winding path to evade Heavenly Ghost scouts. Now they were safer, though she still lifted the arc into the clouds for concealment. Below, mountains swept past like waves. Ahead, a vast plain unfolded. Yu Menghan and Lu Layer laughed softly, pointing at the scenery, fear forgotten. Then, danger! Hanli's eyes snapped open. Gu Yunyue instantly formed seals, blasting white light into the arc. It blazed and shot backward like a fleeing star. A cloud ahead turned black as ink, swelling into a colossal ghostly face. It lunged, jaws snapping shut on empty air. A startled cry echoed. The ghost cloud collapsed, revealing 2 figures. One was a hunched old man, face wrinkled like dried bark, yellow hair sparse and brittle, death already tugging at his sleeve. The other was a hideous long-faced youth with a gaping mouth and cruel, squinting eyes. Both wore black robes embroidered with ghostly visages. Nascent soul pressure rolled outward like storm waves. The youth stood at mid-stage, the elder late stage. Gu Yunyue's face turned ashen. The Wind Cloud Duo. Chapter 23, Battle. The crooked-backed old ghoul laughed, his voice like rusted blades grinding bone. To think you recognize us, Taoist Gu Yunyue. Truly, our reputations have not withered. The long-faced youth said nothing, his gaze drifting like a hungry wolf across Han Li's group. When his eyes met Yu Menghan and Liu Lei'er, his tongue slid over thick lips in a lecherous lick. Liu Lei'er shrank behind Han Li at once, while Yu Menghan's face drained of color. Gu Yunyue's heart tightened. She had known the Heavenly Ghost Sect would not swallow this insult, but she never imagined their claws would reach so swiftly, nor that these two infamous fiends would be the hunters. Yet a veteran of countless life-and-death struggles, she steadied herself and said coldly, "You dare strike me on prosperous nation's border? Are you trying to ignite a war between our sects?" The old ghoul cackled. "Why feign ignorance? Elder Qi has ordered us to seize the one who slew his grandnephew, and that you surnamed girl." His greedy gaze slid toward Han Li and Yu Menghan. Han Li remained calm as an ancient well. Yu Menghan, however, went pale as frost. Gu Yunyue snorted. Her mind raced, searching for escape. "There needn't be enmity, Taoist Gu," the old ghoul coaxed. "Hand them over, and we let you walk away." A chill crept into Gu Yunyue's eyes. "Han Li is a guest elder of Cold Flame Sect. Yu Menghan is our inner disciple. If I surrender them, our sect becomes a laughingstock of the cultivation world." "So be it," the old ghoul snarled. "Then die." The long-faced youth had already lost patience. With a sweep of his sleeve, gray ghost flames surged forth, spiraling into a roaring vortex in the sky. From its heart, a colossal spectral claw, large as a house, lunged down toward them. Gu Yunyue stamped the spirit arc, which flared with light and shot backward like lightning. At the same time, she unleashed a black longsword that streaked across the heavens, expanding into a 70-foot arc of killing light. Clang! Sword met claw like steel on iron. Her brows shot up. With a rapid seal, the blade shrank but blazed brighter, piercing straight through the ghostly palm. Boom! The claw burst into raining embers. The vortex scattering like smoke, the youth's face flushed crimson. He spat a mouthful of blood, eyes blazing red with fury. With a howl, he summoned a black scroll as murky gray mist flooded out, cloaking him from sight. At once, the crooked-backed elder stomped down. Inky black radiance exploded from him as terrifying nascent soul pressure crushed the air. Gu Yunyue recalled her sword, circling it above her head. Her divine sense locked onto both foes. The spirit arc had already fled over 1,000 feet before halting. Through voice transmission, she urged, "Fellow Taoist Han, these two are monsters of the Heavenly Ghost Sect. If things turn dire, take Menghan and Lear and flee." "I will stall them." She knew well she could barely contend with one, let alone both. Han Li stood unmoving, as if he hadn't heard a word. Just then, a sinister whisper slid beside her ear. "Escape? Where do you think you're going?" Her heart lurched. The black light around the old ghoul erupted, his flesh peeling away in a flash to reveal a gray skeletal form. Before she could react, space above the spirit arc twisted violently. A beam of black light shot down, and within it stood the skeletal elder himself. He raised both hands. Golden radiance burst forth as a massive pagoda over 100 feet tall descended from the void, smashing downward with heaven-crushing force. Boom! Terrifying pressure hammered the spirit arc. Its protective glow rippled wildly, on the verge of shattering. Gu Yunyue groaned, firing incantation seals into her sword. The blade shuddered, erupting into countless sword phantoms that slashed upward in a storm. Explosions thundered nonstop, but every strike shattered like glass against the pagoda's surface, leaving not even a scratch. Still, its fall slowed. Seizing the moment, Gu Yunyue flung out a burst of silver light. A silver handkerchief expanded in midair, glowing brilliantly. Mountains and rivers manifested across its surface, brimming with majestic spiritual chi as it braced beneath the descending pagoda. Its fall slowed further. Relief flickered in her eyes, then hardened into killing intent. With a sharp seal, her black sword swelled into a towering giant blade, 50 feet tall, hurtling straight toward the skeletal elder like a falling star. He sneered. With a thunderous boom, the base of the golden pagoda opened into a swirling black abyss. Blinding golden light burst forth, forming a vast halo of suction that devoured everything within hundreds of feet. The giant sword halted midair, then was yanked backward, screaming toward the abyss. Gu Yunyue fought desperately to restrain it. Useless. In mere breaths, the sword vanished into the pagoda. Her heart plunged as the spiritual link snapped. Golden light blazed even fiercer as the pagoda continued its descent. The silver handkerchief buckled downward, mountain and river projections warping, on the verge of being swallowed as well. Gu Yunyue thrust both palms forward, pouring her cultivation into it. Silver brilliance flared, barely stabilizing the treasure. Just as the skeletal elder lifted his hand to strike again, boom! Far away, the gray mist around the long-faced youth exploded apart. The black scroll hovered before him, unfurled wide. Countless ghostly figures writhed across its surface, radiating piercing black light like a gateway to the underworld. "Enough, brother!" he roared, eyes burning with venom as he glared at Gu Yunyue. "This woman wounded me. I'll make her beg for death." The hunchbacked old man lifted a brow, his crooked form pausing mid-motion, yet his eyes never left Gu Yunyue, sharp as hooked blades. At the same instant, the long-faced youth flipped his wrist and drew a black dagger, slashing cruelly into his own arm. Blood burst forth like a crimson spring, boiling into a thick mist that poured into the dark scroll. Black chi roared alive. Yin winds shrieked across the sky like a battlefield of wailing ghosts. From the scroll, two monstrous spirits lunged forth, swelling in moments to towering giants 40 or 50 feet tall. Their upper bodies resembled savage apes wrapped in green fur, white fangs curving from their jaws like scimitars. Thick arms ended in blood-red claws a foot long, while their lower halves dissolved into rolling black fog. The yin winds grew wild. Black mist surged. One ghost after another poured out in a torrent. In the blink of an eye, more than 100 ghostly creatures filled the air. Most bore the aura of Foundation establishment, yet 5 or 6 stood like mountains among them, radiating core formation might. "Kill them!" The long-faced youth shrieked, stabbing a finger toward Gu Yunyue. The ghost army roared and rushed the spirit arc like a tidal wave of death. Gu Yunyue's face blanched. She struck her storage pouch, releasing 4 beams of white light. They struck the deck and transformed into towering jade puppets clad in armor, each gripping a radiant white banner. The banners swept the air. Brilliant light burst forth and fused into a vast white formation that sealed the entire arc within. The ghosts crashed upon it from all sides. Howls shook the heavens. Claws and ghostly light slammed against the barrier in endless fury. The core formation spirits blasted streams of green radiance that made the array quake like a ship in a storm. Gu Yunyue hurriedly formed seals, feeding power into the puppets until the trembling barely steadied. At that moment, the long-faced youth flew forward, chanting fiercely as gray flames erupted from his body, spreading into a blazing sea over 100 feet wide. He grasped with both hands. 2 fire orbs tore free and stretched into blazing spears dozens of feet long. With a violent swing, they shot forth like falling stars. Boom, boom! The spears detonated against the formation. The barrier shook violently. Gu Yunyue staggered, her face draining of color. The youth laughed madly, hurling spear after spear. The white array shrank rapidly, from 70 feet to 50 to less than 30. Sweat glistened on Gu Yunyue's brow as her body trembled under the strain. The hunchbacked elder burst into ugly laughter and slapped his pouch. 12 streaks of black light flew out, revealing bone tridents wreathed in pitch-dark flames. They expanded wildly, carrying a freezing aura as they plunged toward the crumbling array. To kill Gu Yunyue was to earn rich reward. Seeing her falter, the old man struck without mercy. The long-faced youth burned with rage, yet dared not interfere with his superior. Despair flickered in Gu Yunyue's eyes. Then, a figure surged upward from the arc. He pierced straight through the formation in a flash of light. It was Han Li, his body blurred, after images folding into one. In a breath, the 12 bone tridents vanished. The old man's face twisted in shock. They had all been caught in Han Li's hands. With a casual rub of his palms, the black flames were snuffed out like candle wicks. He glanced once and calmly stored them away, as though plucking weeds from the ground. You? The old man stammered in fury and disbelief. The ghost army sensed Han Li's presence and abandoned the array, shrieking as they rushed him. What a bother! Hanli's brows dipped slightly. His body became an azure streak, plunging into the horde. Where the blue shadow passed, spirits burst apart like waves smashing upon iron cliffs. In moments, the ghost army was erased. The long-faced youth stared in stunned horror. Suddenly, Hanli appeared before him. A single punch flashed. The youth exploded into flesh and blood, soul and body erased without a trace. The hunchbacked elder screamed inwardly and flung his sleeve. Hundreds of green flying needles shrieked forth, each thin as hair and burning with ghostly flame. At the same time, green fire erupted around his body as he fled in panic. Abandoning even the golden pagoda, Hanli did not move. He opened his mouth and inhaled. A terrifying suction formed. Space hummed. Every needle was dragged screaming into his mouth. Crunch. A few bites. He swallowed. Gu Yunyue stood frozen, mouth slightly open. From the ark, Yu Meng'an and Liu Lei'er saw only chaos. One enemy dead, the other fleeing like a dog. Their minds reeled. Hanli turned toward the fleeing elder. Golden light flared along his arm. He punched the air. A golden fist projection appeared behind the old man, faster than lightning. The elder hastily cloaked himself in black light. Boom, the green flames exploded. Bones rained from the sky. Yet far away, space rippled. Black light tore open, and the hunchbacked elder stumbled out, pale with terror. He spat out green light, wrapping himself in blazing fire once more as he fled into the horizon. Hanli sensed his position clearly, but then glanced down at the dimming azure glow around his body. His brows furrowed. He let the pursuit go. With a flick of his hand, he drew the fallen youth's storage bag toward him and descended back to the spirit ark. Though he had relied mainly on his physical might, even this brief storm of slaughter had consumed no small measure of his power. Chapter 25. Luya, Brother Rock! Like a startled swallow returning to its nest, Liu Lei'er hurried to Hanli's side, worry written plainly across her delicate face. Never before had she witnessed a clash between such heaven-shaking cultivators. Though victory had come swiftly, fear still gnawed at her heart, afraid he might be hiding grievous wounds. Hanli merely smiled, warm as spring sunlight, and tucked away the storage pouch in his hand. Without the hunchbacked elder's power sustaining it, the towering golden pagoda lost its divine radiance. Its glow dimmed, its vast body shrinking as it drifted down from the sky. With a flick of her wrist, Gu Yunyue drew it into her palm. Only after stealing a cautious glance at Hanli and seeing no hint of desire in his eyes did she dare store it away. This pagoda was no ordinary treasure, capable of imprisoning other artifacts. It was a life-saving trump card. By rights, it should have belonged to Hanli, victor of the battle. That he silently allowed her to claim it filled her heart with both gratitude and awe. Steadying herself, Gu Yunyue approached and cupped her fists. Thank the heavens you arrived in time, fellow Taoist Han. I knew you were extraordinary, but I still underestimated you. Her face was calm, yet deep within her eyes burned reverence. Even alone, she could never have slain that long-faced cultivator so cleanly. Body destroyed, nascent soul extinguished without escape. And there had been another late-stage nascent soul foe besides. Such a feat bordered on legend. They wished to kill me, Hanli replied lightly. So I returned the favor. Yu Meng'an smiled faintly, yet her gaze lingered on Hanli, tangled with awe and emotions too complex to name. To her, her master was already an unfathomable powerhouse. Even her revered father treated Taoist Master Whitestone with utmost respect, and Whitestone himself dared not offend Gu Yunyue. Yet Hanli's strength had soared far beyond even her master's reach. Standing beside him felt like gazing across a star-filled river, near, yet impossibly distant. I thought we'd shaken off the heavenly ghost sect after leaving Prosperous Nation. Gu Yunyue sighed. I didn't expect pursuit so soon. We're still within their domain, Hanli said calmly. Naturally they would strike. Once we reach Cold Flame sect territory, they won't dare follow, she replied, then paused, eyes narrowing slightly as she glanced at him. The moment was fleeting, but Hanli caught it. His expression didn't change, though inwardly he frowned. During the fight, he had barely raised his protective spiritual light, yet his cultivation aura had dropped from mid-nascent soul to early stage. Gu Yunyue must have sensed it. He had no intention of explaining. Deep within the heavenly ghost sect, inside a shadow-drenched hidden chamber, a dozen torches burned along the stone walls, their yellow flames casting writhing shadows like living ghosts. At the chamber's heart stood a round stone table. Before it sat a thin elderly man, white hair like frost, beard black as ink, clad in ochre robes. One hand rested on the table, the other tapped rhythmically against his knee. His hawk-like nose jutted sharply above deep-set eyes that stared into nothingness. Firelight etched every wrinkle upon his contemplative face. Floating before him was a copper mirror, the size of a human head. Within it appeared the hunched form of an elderly man, the surviving Windcloud duo. Already bent with age, he now bowed so deeply his head nearly touched his chest, not daring to lift his gaze. "So?" the thin elder rumbled, voice coarse as grinding stone. "Not only did you fail to retrieve the people I wanted, one of you even died?" The hunchbacked elder trembled. "Please forgive me, Marshal Uncle Chi. The enemy was terrifying beyond measure. At first he hid his aura like a mortal, but the instant battle began, he revealed mid-nascent soul cultivation. He seized my 12 bone tridents before I could even react. And after that, enough!" The thin elder cut in coldly. "His cultivation was below yours, yet he stole your treasures with ease?" "Yes, and his body, monstrously strong. Compared to him, the spirits in my junior brother's myriad ghost scroll were like straw men. He shattered them with every blow, and even devoured my bone-devouring yin needles." Fear still quavered in his voice. Silence fell. The thin elder sank into thought, torchlight flickering across his face. The longer the quiet stretched, the deeper terror rooted in the hunchbacked elder's heart. He dropped to his knees. "Marshal Uncle Chi, I swear every word is true." At last, the thin elder spoke. "From your account, he is likely a powerful body cultivator. Such beings are rare and indeed beyond your ability to handle. Leave this matter to me." With a casual sweep of his sleeve, the mirror darkened. The hunchbacked elder vanished. "So what if you've tempered your flesh to heaven's edge?" the thin elder snarled, killing intent blazing. "You will still be torn apart for killing Hauer." Moments later, he turned back to the copper mirror, chanting a spell and forming seals before pointing. Ripples spread across the surface like water stirred by wind. Another figure emerged. A broad-shouldered, middle-aged man hovered above a lush forest canopy, stroking his short beard with a relaxed smile. "Brother Chi, it's been ages." "What brings you calling today?" "I'll skip pleasantries," the thin elder said gravely. "I need a favor, Brother Luya." Luya's smile faded. "Speak." The thin elder recounted all that had occurred, beginning with Chi Minghao's death. Cold fury flashed in Luya's eyes. "To dare harm your descendant, he deserves 10,000 deaths." "I'm tied up with sect matters," the thin elder said. "Your near-prosperous nation, I ask that you hunt Hauer's killer in my stead." Luya fell into thought. Body cultivators are terrifying in battle, but breaking their bottlenecks is near impossible. For one to reach such heights, he is no ordinary man. The thin elder's eyes glinted. "A disciple reports he is to become a guest elder of Cold Flame sect, but he hasn't formally joined yet. No need for restraint. Kill him for me, and my origin spirit pill is yours." Joy flickered across Luya's face before being swiftly concealed. "In that case," he said solemnly, "you may rely on me, Brother Chi." A sinister thought crossed the thin elder's mind. "One more thing. Spare the girl surnamed Yu. If possible, bring her to me alive." Luya paused briefly, then nodded. The hunt had begun.